Hi, this is Grant Gerke of Electric Vehicle Parade and also Electric Vehicle Connections, a weekly mobile magazine devoted to electric car news and developments. So, this last week I was at the Electric Drive Transportation Association meeting in Indianapolis, and it was a great event. They kicked off the event with announcement of 200,000 cars sold in the U.S. through 2014, and that put everybody in a pretty good mood, along with a speaker from the FIA Formula E Racing League, and talked a little bit about the social media component where audience or racing fans will be able to vote for different drivers and provide them with some extra electrons for their battery. Very small component, as he put it, but still an interesting development in terms of how this league is trying to gather a younger generation, and knowing that they like to participate in events and not just be passive observers. And also at the event, there was the Toyota fuel cell concept car, and it was a really good looking car, and so that's good to see for in general alt fuel vehicles looking nice and sexy and good looking cars. That's always a good sign. So the big takeaway from the meeting started with the research, the market trend session on Tuesday, and specifically the Plug Insights research showed that EV cars are starting to mature, and it looks like what's going to happen. What's going to happen next as these early adopters have their lease end or look to sell them, or part of buyback programs. What are they going to do next? Are they going to go to an electric car again, or go back to an internal combustion engine car? So where do they go from here? Or, how do you measure the satisfaction? Well, anyways, Plug Insights, research division of Recargo developed or uses this Net Promoter Score, and this basically derives the satisfaction of a product, and is used in many other industries. Anyway, the numbers were astounding. As you can see there, Tesla is up in the 90s. You've got the Volt, high numbers, and even the Nissan Leaf is quite high compared to standard automobiles like the Toyota Camry, the Subarus. They're in the lower 40s and in middle 40s. So this is a real interesting data point, and I also wrote about this on Inside EVs, which I was covering for the event for the magazine. And so this data point, these are data points that automakers should really see and say, maybe we should be taking a different look, a different tact, marketing strategy. And so this kind of connected to another session that I attended regarding the future of EVs, and they had Johnson Controls, Audi, a powertrain OEM, and they were talking about, electrics, they are the answer eventually. It's always that kind of the motto you've been hearing, that eventually, it's going to be all electric cars, or, the automakers will make a big shift towards electric cars. And John Volker, who was the moderator and did a great job, pointed out, well, when will they start marketing these cars? And that I found very, very interesting, because that's something I write about quite a bit on the EV Parade, and the perception / strategy from these automakers. And so later in the at the ride and drive, excuse me, the ride and drive, which was a great component to this conference, in which it was there 3 days and had a number of electric cars, anywhere from the Cadillac ELR, the Energy from the Ford, even there's I want to say Highlander, but I'm not sure about that. But all these other Leafs, just everybody could take a test drive, and real interesting experience when I was out there and talked to the GM advisor who went with me on the ride and drive for the ELR. Beautiful car, nice drive. And she mentioned, as I was talking to her, that they did not, they did this, I think it was 12-week on the road educational trip for dealers, companies, you name it. And they didn't record any of the feedback from drivers taking these tests. None whatsoever. She said they didn't do it for the Volt, and they didn't do it, and they're not doing it for the ELR. So that's just something that is really, really depressing sometimes, is that they're not even taking feedback. That's like marketing 101, it seems like these days. But they're not doing it. And I talked to another EV driver after she took a ride in that Cadillac. She loved the Cadillac, and just in general enjoyed her experience. And I asked her, had she ever seen an electric car commercial? And she said no, she'd never seen an electric car commercial. So getting back to that point, well, when will automakers start marketing these cars? Because then you could have bigger volumes, and from these scores you're seeing great satisfaction, and that could be your answer right there, is that they're worried that there will be a huge shift towards electric cars and maybe they won't make as much money. It's up for debate, but anyways, one other last tidbit. I was in a dealer session talking about how dealers are evolving, and they talked about BMW's new i3 rollout and the challenges there because of the longer sales training and so forth. But one of the critics of the dealerships mentioned that really you only have 4 car companies really devoted towards selling these cars, and that would be GM, Nissan, Tesla, and then BMW. BMW with their i3 and i8 coming out, and also their carbon reinforcement material structure that they'll be using, for lightweighting. That's huge, just for, I would imagine, all facets of automobiles, not just electrics. But Nissan and their high volume, lower price, Tesla the opposite, and then Chevy, as you could tell from my previous comments, I'm a little frustrated there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, the wrap-up. And then also, I do have a new, as I said, mobile magazine called Electric Vehicle Connections, and it's about 7 or 8 items from the week of the most pressing and most needed electric car news. So if you want to try a free 2-week trial, just go to this bit.ly address on the screen and enjoy. So have a great Memorial Day weekend. Thanks.